Can you share a major technological shift happening in Wi-Fi?
Without doubt, Wi-Fi 7 and MLO. AI can do a better job, but they can't add this human touch.
You have taken blogging as a medium for knowledge sharing. Somebody wants to share their knowledge. What do you recommend?
You write about your journey and keep it. People looking it or not doesn't matter.
You visit a lot of wireless conferences. What motivates you to interact with all these people?
Bringing people together is the most important part. That feeling sometimes really very important.
Let's talk about mentorship.
Bring some inspiration for somebody else.
Rasika Nayanajith is a certified networking professional.
With 20 plus years of experience,
He has helped thousands of Wi-Fi professionals through his blog posts.
I spend selfless number of hours to somebody's benefit. When my family side complain about you resolving world problem, but you don't resolving my home problem.
Do you recommend pursuing certifications?
Yeah, I would say.
Hello all. Welcome to Weekly Wi-Fi Wisdom podcast series where we talk everything about Wi-Fi and the tech that surrounds it. I'm your host, Sainath. I'm WLAN QA engineer at Candela Technologies, and I'm very excited about the guest that we have today. So before introducing the guest, let me ask you a question. So how many times have you stuck with a Wi-Fi question and stumbled upon a website called mrncciew.com? Well, if you don't remember the domain, I am pretty sure you remember how the website looks. It's with a dark black background and colorful fonts, but the technical accuracy is very high and you would definitely have your query answered. So that blog has helped me learn many Wi-Fi concepts over the time, and today I'm excited that I have the person himself, Mr. Rasika Nayanajith, and he's a CCIE in wireless and also routing and switching. He is currently an independent wireless expert, training the next generation of wireless enthusiasts. I'm very glad that you are here, sir. Thank you so much for your time. And I'm excited to talk about your Wi-Fi journey and how to inspire the younger generations.
Thank you very much. I'm really excited to be here, in front of you guys and then giving some insight about my Wi-Fi journey. Really glad, I've got the opportunity to be here.
Let's get started. So I went through the blog and I came to know that you did your first CCIE in routing and switching. And then later, I think about a year later, you did CCIE in wireless. So what was that shift? So where did you find that passion moving from traditional routing to Wi-Fi?
Yeah, so actually I started my wireless journey back in 2012. At the time I had my CCIE routing switching in 2008. So now I work for a university at the time. So now I wanted to have a forward looking, hey, what we need to do in wireless space. So that way I look at my colleagues, my engineers, sometimes I felt they're all good at operationally keeping the lights on, but they don't really look forward and bring a roadmap kind of thing. So then at the time, my skill of Cisco wireless also not that great. So then I decided, having my CCIE background, let's go for CCIE wireless. At least I learn and then I can set some roadmap for the university I work for. That's how I started in wireless. Back in 2013, my blog really became wireless focused blog. To be honest, I just started my blog just for my own benefit, just to keep my wireless CCIE notes. I put it public, but not many hits, But once I do my CWNP kind of journey, I noted down, this blog became one of the popular blog, in that way. The main reason is to basically set that direction to the organization I work for. I want to learn wireless. That's why my blog name also called mrncciew. If you decoded, my mrn is like my 3 initial letters of the name, and CCIE wireless is my journey about Cisco wireless certification. So that's how I started in the wireless path. But after a few years, I decided, based on the people respecting me for sharing wireless knowledge, I keep my main focus to wireless technology.
Absolutely. So you have mentioned that you started the blog for your own benefit, probably notes taking, your own journey.
Right.
So, but what kept you going for a very long time? The blog.
Yeah, a lot of blogs, at the CCIE routing switching kind of days, lot of people blog about their journey. But when my CCI wireless studies start, there are no inspiration for me. In that way, there are not a lot of people blog about it. In that way, I kept my CCI wireless journey as an inspiration to another one who followed the same journey. But a lot of blogs dead after their certification achievement. Like I don't want to happen to my blog. In that way, I really wanted to, if somebody interact with me, I want to respond. But the volume of comments making, I even today have a 400 plus comment, I haven't responded. Like I try to be as much as I can do, but a lot of comments people, but I try to keep it at least to that interaction going. And then if you learn something new, I want to share about it. In that way, that's the only way this blog keep going, because even you may think I'm expert in the wireless field, you're always learning. Sometimes technology is changing so rapidly. In that way, that helps in a way to keep my blog active, because wireless is rapid changing. Nobody knows everything. In that way, whatever I learn new, I blog about it. That helps me to keep posting some post, and that helps to keep the blog active as well.
Absolutely. So not just constant learning, but he gives back to the community as soon as he learns it, document it, so that we also get the insights about the new topic. I personally learn many things from his blog. So thank you for the blog thing that you're doing. Right. So let's get a bit into the technical side. So you've been in wireless industry for many years. So if you could let us know any troubleshooting scenario or any debugging problem which taught you a lesson, what was it? Could you share?
Yeah, so my most of the industry experience, because I worked for that university for like 14 years. Like I try to be hands-on in that way now. Back in the sort of days 2013-14, like I think the biggest one of the challenge or one of the learning I got, sometime people, like even myself including, like not clear understanding how wireless unicast traffic works, how wireless multicast broadcasts work. Like at the time university trying to do some services like IPTV, those are like a multicast kind of services. So sometime doing my most of the testing, I realized, the multicast is a service sometimes not very good for wireless, because by nature of wireless multicast, they don't use any higher data rate. They always use the primary kind of channel. So I had to do some testing, like that way. Early days, without knowing the technology, sometimes I said, no problem, we can bring anything wireless. We had some kind of use case where students basically get their devices bringing on. They basically plug their devices to the wire and get copy infringement kind of movies and everything. University get a lot of issues. Then the way we resolved was basically we had to cut the wire. So we want to give the wireless, but then these kind of IPTV services sometimes want to relying on, because we only give wireless. So sometimes wireless is not the best medium to this kind of services. I understood do testing, that way. Since those testing, what it told me, sometimes certain application, you have a different way of doing it, that way, rather than saying that wireless is the right medium for everything. Either now vendors point of they're changing wireless multicast to unicast as a part of their solution. That help, in that way, if you transmit wireless frame as unicast in the wireless, you can give the MCS, you can prioritize traffic. So that way, best learning is actually look at the QoS kind of headers. It is important. Even the Apple devices those days, they did not really mark well traffic. So in that way, I spend a lot of time to take packet captures and look at the UP value. If you know wireless, like what's UP value, user priority value, and then realize some devices does not do it well. In that way, sometimes look at the basic application, how it works. If it is sometime unicast, wireless can be a good service, medium. But if it's a multicast kind of services, sometimes wireless natively is not the best way to do it unless you change it to unicast. That way, that learning is a sort of biggest takeaway, I would say, because a lot of people not spending time to take PCAP and look at the frame level. My advice is actually, go to deep level, and that will teach you a lot of lessons.
Right. So go deep and then see the problem to the very core.
Yeah.
Right. So you've been following this technology for over a decade or even more, right? So can you share us few major technological shifts that are happening in Wi-Fi, which excited you over the decade?
Yeah, I think, now if we are wireless is almost like a 25 years kind of technology. In that way, without doubt, I would say 11N like MIMO, change the sort of a landscape, really add a lot of capabilities. In that way, by the time I studied my wireless, already 11N was there. In that way, I didn't really feel the shift. I've already started with my 11N kind of days. But if I move forward few more years, I would say 11AX, high efficiency wireless, like OFDMA. Even though in the industry we are questioning whether this will deliver the promises or not, but still I would say that's changed the landscape, rather than focusing about high throughput, that's the one concept. As a wireless engineers, we always want to high throughput, but we don't really talk about what's the experience look like. In that way, sometimes we want to have a efficient wireless, that will give a good experience. In that way, 11X, I would say the next big excitement, after MIMO, I would say OFDMA or 11X. And if I look forward, so Wi-Fi 7 and MLO, that is a sort of these technologies sometimes get complicated when the implementation point of view. But if you spend time to understand technology better, you would appreciate how much time somebody think about, bring these kind of features in to wireless technology. Those three features, I would say, key changes in the
MIMO, OFDMA, and then MLO is what Rasika's interesting picks from Wi-Fi technological shifts. And right, so this question I like to ask even for myself. So, do you recommend pursuing certifications for career excellence? So, say how good would it do for an professional working professional to pursue CCIE wireless or even CWNP certification programs? How much would they help in one's career growth?
Yeah, I would say now, even myself, I think the biggest problem is nobody giving a career guidance. If you are new to wireless, just go this path. Okay, in that way, even my case, because I had a routing switching CCIE, I thought next best is to do the CCI wireless. In that way, that's how I ended up doing my CCI career. So now even I get my CCI wireless. If I ask the question, Rasika, are you a wireless expert? I couldn't say yes, because I don't know wireless in general. I knew how to configure Cisco controller at that particular time, what are the features available, but I couldn't answer myself. I'm not a Cisco wireless expert. In that way, when I searched, then I found the CWNP path. That way I did CWNA, CWNP, CWNE kind of certification. But now if I look back, without doubt, I would say best path is a CWNP path. If you want to get good wireless knowledge, even you have a university degree in telecommunication, whichever the area, I would say CWNA is the best path to start. In that way, that will not give a, like a job at a vendor. Like sometimes if you go to CWNE level, they all know basically you have follow a certain path that will take your security direction, design direction and analysis kind of direction. They know you have gone through a path. And then if they throw the vendor product to you, you know how to manipulate or how to basically navigate that kind of vendor. In that way, now if I encourage somebody to be a wireless engineer, without doubt, I would say CWNA as a starting point. Even you have an experience in the wireless world, go to CWNA and then go to CWNE. But even you become CWNE, like worldwide today, we have around 600 people. Not a huge community.
Right.
So wireless is not like a very big area, but it's a niche kind of technology. But if you know the people, that's the best feeling you have. Even myself, I'm not the expert of deploying Wi-Fi in all the vertical. I know sometimes someone good at mine Wi-Fi deployment, someone good at a hospital Wi-Fi deployment because they have experience. In that way, you cannot get that experience across the board. In that way, the people who can you relying on. In that way, doing CWNA or CWNP and become a CWNE, you will connected with all the fellow CWNEs.
Right.
Then you can relying on get support from them, because wireless community is a very small community. They are very helpful. If you reach out, I'm sure you will get 90% of the time very supportive answers. That's the one thing, as a CWNE as well, I try to help. Biggest challenge people got is not having that encouragement. Nobody giving that encouragement. Hey, go for this. Even CCI, I wouldn't tell it's an impossible thing. A lot of people sometimes scared, not encouraging somebody to take the CCI wireless journey because they think it's too difficult and discourage people going that path. But in my point of view, you should go, if you're a wireless engineer looking this podcast, you should go for your CWNE. starting with your CWNA bare minimum, and then have a plan, and then go for that. But that will give you a better opportunity to understand any vendor product. Even when you are working the vendor neutral, that program teach you foundation very well.
Right. Extending the question, so you also did your CWNA, right? So can you walk us through the journey from CWNA to CWNA?
So CWNA is like a foundational course, what we call Certified Wireless Network Administrator. So now that will teach you what are the generation of wireless, all this modulation and other thing. It will cover the breadth of wireless, but we don't go depth.
Right.
In that way, we are not going to the frame level, all the detail of .1x kind of thing, security, we don't go deep. So this is like a teach you the breadth of wireless. As a wireless administrator, even you work as a network engineer, if you have a CWNA knowledge, you will appreciate how wireless work and you will make a better Wi-Fi for your organization. And then once you have a CWNA, you can go to the professional level, where we have a 3-module, CWSP, Security Professional, CWAP, Analysis Professional, and CWDP, Design Professional. So now that gives us some professional level knowledge on design, security, and analysis.
Right.
So with those 3 and with the CWNA, you can go for the CWNE certificate. It is not an exam itself, it's an application process. So expert level is you apply with your industry experience, 3-year experience is minimum. You need to show them you apply your CWNP knowledge in real world, either troubleshooting or solution designing or something like that. So now CWNP point of view, they are trying to encourage people to learn about IoT as well, Internet of Things, wireless IoT. In that way, they have another track for the IoT learning. So to get some promotion for that program, they make a prerequisite before CWNE. You need to do one more exam called CWISA, Certified Wireless IoT Solution Administrator. So with those 5 certification and with the industry experience, you can apply for CWNE. And then evaluation board will look at your application. And if you fulfill all the sort of requirement, actually one thing I like about CWNE program, they encouraging sharing, knowledge sharing. Either you have a blog or the podcast like this can contribute to your CWNE application. If you show that you have done this kind of podcast or blog, or even within your company, you have done internal training, you can use that as a supporting evidence for your CWNE application. In that way, knowledge sharing is one thing they look at, and they will give that number at the end.
Right. So if I had to ask you, what is the most challenging certification in the CWNP program?
Okay, I would say CWAP, because a lot of people are scared to look at the Wireshark, in that way, frame analysis, I look at the frames at the protocol analyzer level. Including myself, I didn't have much of a grip of that, in that way, I did those certifications self-study, but then I know how painful that learning. In that way, if you read my blog, I always try to start simple and then go deep. In that way, I always look at any topic, go broader first, high level concept, and then try to dig deep. In that way, I would say the biggest challenging exam is the CWAP. Sometime once you do a CWNA, if you do the CWAP, you are done almost like 80%, you can confident, rest of the thing will be follow. But some people do CWAP at last. Learning point of view, I would say spend more time on CWAP, where you look at Wireshark and having some home lab, do your own kind of troubleshooting. That will teach most value, that way I would say CWAP, but now my passion is to protocol analysis. Okay, that way, since I spend a lot of time, I feel love with that, and then even though I don't use day-to-day troubleshooting Wireshark, but if you know how to understand the protocol field value, that will easily tell, hey, this is not normal. In that way, you can pinpoint things quickly if you know the protocol well.
So you enjoy doing protocol analysis?
Yes, so I would say yes.
Right. Right. Talking about, let's talk about mentorship. So how important role does mentorship play in one's career? Having a good mentor, either giving advice or taking advice. You being a mentor or you getting?
Yeah, I think in my career, I had very good mentors as well, but I would say I always try to look at differently, in the sense, even I didn't get a good mentorship. how can I be a good mentor for someone else? Like I think in Candela, you guys are very lucky, have someone like Sitarama, like because now he's a sort of a industry worldwide, like because his perspective, things change, like now he believe in yourself, like that mean getting young talent, and he always, like try to encourage you to go bigger journeys, that way. In my career as well, I try to bring people and mentor them, in that way. I know they will remember someone who mentor you in that way, like in their career. Sometimes you only need very small inspiration, and as long as you get the confidence, you will go a long journey. In that way, I know basically sometimes you will see my blog and I found that inspiration, but I want to create many like me. In that way, like at least this kind of podcast help to basically someone to go that journey, and sharing knowledge is important, that way. Sometime if I kept my this knowledge, nobody appreciate. In that way, even I'm CCI, double CCI, CWNE, what's the value for somebody else? So that way, if you start sharing, they will find value of whatever you are sharing. In that way, your knowledge you will be more valuable. In that way, keep by sharing. But I would say, try to be a mentor to someone. Like don't look for big programs. Look at who's around you and see whether you can be a help for that person. And then do some life help or technology point of view, whatever or giving some advice. Like your perspective that can help. I think.
Right. So I totally agree that knowledge sharing is important. So you have taken blogging as a medium for knowledge sharing. So if somebody wants to share their knowledge, what means do you recommend in today's world?
Yeah, I think, like now if you are studying for certification or something like that, I would say start your certification journey, because not that can be your self note as well. But don't think about too much how many other people writing about it. Like always you have to add your own perspective, little bit, like otherwise same technical topic can be covered many bloggers, in that way. Sometime your story may be different. In that way, people interesting about what's your spin, what's the value you add to that. In that way, whatever the way you learn or how much time you spend on particular troubleshooting and what triggers you to go on different path and finding a solution. So like that, your story is important. In that way, any technical topic you write, but don't worry about how many people written about it. Like that now, writing point of view, you can get a lot of internet help today. Like that way, you write about your journey and keep it your notes. In that way, whether people looking it or not, different matter. So one, I would say blog is one important aspect. But if you are good at recording videos, in that way, sometime doing a YouTube channel or something is important. You whatever you're comfortable.
Right.
But if you're not comfortable of sharing your learning publicly, even I would say within your company, try to basically educate someone, maybe different department, customer support or something like that. Like in that way, people will appreciate what you, like you have to spend time. But if you see a bigger benefit of you are spending time, and try to find some people where you can share the knowledge, in that way. Sometimes there may be local community event where you go and present, like that way, Wi-Fi community, Wi-Fi event. Sometime if there's no one nearby, just start one, that will basically only one people, two people will come first. You can create something. In that way, don't complain outside, say there are no opportunity. Always if there are no opportunity, create opportunity. So like that, you can start building a community. I think bringing people together is the most important part. In that way, if you can be a one doing that, that's a great way of starting that kind of sharing journey.
Right. So you talked about communities, right? So I've seen that you travel a lot, visiting professional wireless people and engage with them, interact with them. So what motivates you to interact with all these people? For example, you visit a lot of wireless conferences.
Yeah. So now, immediately after my CCI wireless, at the time of CCI wireless as well, I got some community support in the sense because I was learning about Cisco wireless. So I asked some question in the Cisco forum. In that way, some people responded to my queries, help, and then once I passed my CCI wireless, I start contributing to Cisco forum. In that way, every day, I spend number of hours, like sometimes even my family side complain about, you resolving world problem, but you don't resolving my home problem, in that way. But still, I wake up early, 4 a.m., 4:30 a.m., responding to those queries in the support forum. I know I help somebody in the community. I don't know who it is. Sometimes they will get the answers and go and solve their problem. even don't come and say thank you to me, but I feel I help someone, in that way. That feeling sometimes very, very important, that will give the confidence, hey, you did something, without, you don't know, but after 10 years of doing that, I felt like I helped many community members, in that way. Plus my blog, reading many different, I think India will be now number one country visiting my blog, always is India and US, those are the two countries, basically number one and number two countries. So now I know even India, a lot of people use my blog, but then, so that's why to come to India, I don't have any problem. I know where somebody would know me. Even go to other side of the world, US, Europe, based on my blog audience, I know I will meet somebody there. In that way, I don't have a feeling of go for conference being isolated. Somebody will come and appreciate. I went to first time US conference 2019. That time as well, I felt that way. In that way, you always welcome. People will come and appreciate you. So I know the feeling. In that way, many conferences I go, not to show off, hey, this is Rasika, I am this guy. No, I feel basically people connected and appreciate. Sometime when you meet in person, you can inspire them more. In that way, to add that personal touch, I like to travel. In that way, even come here, I thought basically it's a good idea. To come and meet. I know I met a couple of people in the Knowledge Summit in May,
Right.
but not everyone. In that way, if anyone basically, if you can add that personal touch, then you can inspire much bigger way. In that way, I still feel like an opportunity to go and travel. I like it, in that way. So sometime, to be honest, very first time my family saw how much community come and appreciate. They couldn't believe, in that way. My wife and my kids, they know, they treat me like, hey, Rasika, you really helpful. And then they've changed the perspective. They're complaining about me, what I'm doing. Now they know what I have done, the community point of view. They all respected me as a simple person sharing and encouraged them to go the journey. In that way, they're not complaining anymore. That's also good outcome of, going for this kind of event and show them, my family, rather than spending my time just to selfishly my family, I spend selfless number of hours to somebody's benefit,
Right. I think that's great, right? Giving selflessly your time for the goodness of other people.
Yeah.
And that's what makes you well regarded in the wireless community. In your view, in your viewpoint, what are the most common mistakes or problems that young engineers have in their early days or along the journey, and how should one avoid them?
Yeah, I think, now biggest sort of a misconception point of view, I think we always think adding more access point is a good idea. I think if you have wireless problem, they always think, hey, why not adding access point? So sometime when you learn wireless, you understand it's not about number of access point, it's about the channel or frequency. If you have a less interfered kind of frequency plan, that works much better. In that way, don't think adding access point is, sometime as a young engineers, we think adding access point is a solution. In the same context, sometime having 5 bars, always we think good experience. Experience is not equal to signal strength.
Right.
Okay, in that way, sometime access point can go to higher power and give a good signal. But if you are in the farther away from the building, you can have 5 bars, but your device is less capable of communicating. In that way, don't look at the signal strength as a measure of amount of experience. In that way, the other misconception I would say, they always go for what's my speed test result. If it is a 200 Mbps, they think it's good. So sometimes it's not about the speed test, it's all about jitter latency. In that way, application point of view, we don't require that much of throughput to application to work. In that way, don't go for speed test as a measurement of success of Wi-Fi. Look at the overall application experience. That's important. In that way, I think those are the few initial things come to my mind. In the wireless, engineers make some wrong judgment without knowing the wireless technology well.
Right. I totally agree on the latency aspect, because real-time applications, they might not need that much of speeds, but they are very latency sensitive.
Yeah.
Right. So, could you recommend us a few books or any other resources so that one can excel in the wireless journey?
Okay, I think as I said, the CWNA is the most important one. There are a lot of CWNA books, like if you look for now, I think the CWNA exam version now is CWNA 109. So in that way, if you look for maybe David Coleman, that he's a sort of a CWNA number 2 or 3. So he's written Cybex books, like that way, that book is like a big size, like people use it as a Bible of Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Even though it is, covering more broader knowledge, I would say someone need to have that particular CWNA book, like not just for the exam. If you want to cross-reference wireless technology, go for some book you can depend on, in that way. Now, if you want to learn about Wi-Fi 7, there's another book recently came from, like some authors from Cisco, like a Jerome Henry. I think it's called Wi-Fi 7 in depth, like in that way. That book also, I would recommend it. Not only talk about Wi-Fi 7, but methodically talking about Wi-Fi 4, how features evolve. Those 2 books comes to my mind. And then you ask about some blogs, like even my blog, I can tell, like sometime in my blog as well, I try to basically now vendor neutral more posts, because now, yes, my background of CCI wireless, some posts are Cisco related, and my CWNP journey, those are vendor neutral kind of wireless learning. If I learn anything new wireless, I will blog about it. In that way, you can keep that. And then some industry event conference, like there's one conference called WLAN Pro, Wireless LAN Professional. So if you are in Europe or US, you may have opportunity to go there. But even not, you can go for their website and you can recorded sessions will be there, freely available in the YouTube channel. You can watch that. So that's like a wireless community come together and share their knowledge. Nothing vendor driven. In that way, we are not learning about vendor flavor of wireless. So this is learning about how wireless works independently. In that way, those kind of resources I can recommend,
Absolutely. Right. So if someone wants to start their own wireless lab within a small budget, how do someone start there?
Yeah, I think I would say home lab is the best way of learning. Okay, that way, even my CCI lab wireless, I had a home lab. I think I documented my home lab, and you can search that blog post. That home lab helped me to go CWNE journey much quicker, because I always wanted to play with my lab. So in that way, now sometime if you look for eBay, you can find some access point, like even if you search my blog, the biggest, most popular post is how to convert Cisco AP to autonomous AP. Like even today, people struggling to convert that access point into a standalone unit.
Right.
In that way, if you have some Cisco access point with the right image, independently you can configure as access point, multiple SSIDs, and then you have some switch. You can configure with the .1Q trunking and play with the access point need to be the access port. With the access point need to be configured the trunk port. You understand this multiple SSID, multiple VLAN concept. In that way, I would say at least one access point, one switch can be your test lab. But like sometimes then you can slowly adding devices. The other important skill I want you to develop is how to take packet capture. Like understand that monitor mode, taking packet capture, and go some protocol analysis level, add Wireshark into lab, and then slowly build up some DHCP basic fundamental. Even if you don't have a wireless lab, play with your wired lab, plugging your laptop to the home switch or modem, and take packet captures and look at that headers look like. In that way, you don't want to spend, you don't have a big budget, to have a home lab. If you search internet, sometimes people giving equipment free, because they are refreshing their hardware. Even in my university, sometimes, we replacing 100, 200 access point. Sometimes we e-waste those, in that way, if you look around, you will get hardware. In that way, only thing is, if you have to have an objective in your mind, hey, I want to learn, I want to go this journey, keep some objective. Even CWNE is not your reach, but keep that as a dream. If you have a dream big, then you will go their journey. Otherwise, if you think CWNE is your objective, it won't cut it. You have to have a big dream, and then you will go long journey. In that way, home lab is a must. You should have home lab, irrespective of whatever the journey you are going. Even CWNP studies, even we are learning vendor neutral wireless. Without a vendor product, you can't learn wireless.
Right.
That way you have to have some experience.
In your entire career, what is the most satisfying moment for you in Wi-Fi?
Okay, like now, if I look back, like now, sometime my biggest happiness is actually I have mentored few people. So in that way, I build them, give the confidence, hey, go your journey big. In that way, they didn't work for me long time. I always build people, you can go away, not to limiting them to work for me. In that way, they go and explore sometimes cybersecurity careers or even sometimes wireless job careers. In that way, now if I look back, I'm more satisfied how I grow up that team. They are successful in their career. That's a more satisfaction as a wireless professional. And then, I got some reward recognition from the community. That's also feel good. But even I achieve certification, those are not joy will limited for short period of time. You can't be happy forever. But people I built, I can be happy about, how they success in their life. What I want ask from them is actually do something like that. Bring some inspiration for somebody else. You don't want to pay back to me. Pay it forward, and then give some inspiration for someone else. That's my message. Whoever basically, even reading my blog, getting some inspiration, have the confidence you can go the journey and then try to help someone. That's the sort of always when I write about, I always try to think, hey, what's the value of this to someone else? If it's no value to someone else, no point of spending time. In my point of view, I know in that way I always look for what's the value for others. If it is I think valuable, I will spend time. Sometimes people not understand how much time take for this blogging and kind of video. It take time. Maybe 5-minute video, you spend like a 1 week, 2 week to do it. So someone, until you do it, you don't understand how much effort it goes. Right. In that way, we spend a lot of hours, but I know it's some valuable to someone.
Absolutely. So bringing up the next generation of people into wireless and then mentoring them and see them succeed is what makes you happy.
This human touch is important. Otherwise, AI can do a better job. They will learn Wi-Fi technology, but they can't add this human touch and provide that inspiration. In that way, that's you can do only. If you don't find the inspiration, you can be a one who inspire others. That's the way I would look at
it. Right. So, can you tell me about more on the preparation journey? Where how did you, at least I would like to know your daily routine on how your day look like
right
in your CCI.
Yeah, CCI days. Now biggest problem was my CCI days how to get time. Okay, so now CCI journey is almost like a 12 months kind of journey. It's a big sacrification. You have to decide in your family life, is this the right time to do it? But in my case, sometimes we all selfish, we want to keep something in front and then you lose your family side. In that way, family has to struggle when you're doing a CCI kind of journey. So I try to get time, what is the least impacted for them. That's why I try to wake up 4 a.m., 4:30 a.m. and do some couple of hours studies before I go to work kind of thing. Like now, in that way, you try to find a balance where are the least impacted time for your family and get their support and then go this journey. But since after doing that, then I still, once your body adjusts to that kind of clock, even CCI pass, you still wake up 4:30, then I spend time to the forum and other thing. Now, if I want to do now after a couple of years of CCIs, then I realize it's a never ending journey. If you want to learn technical, till you die, you can learn, but always put into perspective what makes you going every day. So now helping somebody else become a bigger sort of, meaning. So now me, I'm not motivated to do another CCI or anything like that. Why? Because I sometimes it's the biggest sacrification. If my employer demanding, you can go for it. There's a reason for it. Otherwise, I would say spend time. You can give best value to the rest of the community. So now if I get time, I try to study my routine, like I do some half an hour mindful meditation or something like that. Get my mind calm. Otherwise, if your mind is not right, you can't help anybody. If you are unhappy within yourself, you can't make anybody else happy. In that way, I try to find some balance now with mindfulness practices and technical career. Because sometimes we are getting now older, sometimes we don't have energy like you guys, like you are obviously early in the career, you can do anything. But so in our sort of time, I try to find some balance now, mindfulness practices, and spend time on this technical journey, learning kind of thing. But I would still keep learning Wi-Fi, but I wouldn't think it won't be like a crazy, like, my early start, like 10 years before.
Right.
So you don't find that energy, but I've tried to balance it now.
So if you had to give few advices to the young people excelling in wireless, what would that be? Let's say top 3 advices.
Yeah, I would say, dream big, in that way, don't limit yourself. You can go longer journeys, I think somebody need to give that belief to you. In that way, I think in your early careers, don't look at money, look for good boss. If you find the right boss, he will make you a very successful person. In that way, getting a career advice is important. That way, don't switch a job just because of you get less paid, but see what's the, sometimes opportunities come in different way. In that way, see whether you get a mentorship and then you have that particular positive attitude. That's more important in the early stage. And then, having a bigger dream. And then I would say, try to be help for someone, sometime volunteer or whatever it is. So sometimes this is the thing I learned, even some giving my time community. If you give something free, you get free time back. In that way, don't always value your time by some kind of money, like that way. If I spend 2 hours, don't say I should get paid like that. In that way, give something back to community. In that way, you never know, you will be get rewarded and the right time comes.
Right. So, I'd like to conclude by asking few questions. Like, I've seen that you recently started a YouTube channel. Right?
Yes.
So, what's next for you in this journey?
Yeah, now I have done blogging for almost 12 years, in that way. Now, sometime now today's age, everybody like to watch some video, maybe 3-5 minutes video, and they want to learn a lot of things in that 3-5 minutes. So sometimes they may not read my blog unless you are doing something very similar to what I am experiencing. In that way, I feel basically adding some video content will help the experience of my readers. In that way, that's the one motive. The other thing actually, sometime I want to be good at as well. In that way, I am not very comfortable, recording and making some YouTube video. In that way, I want to develop myself. In that way, this has started to test myself as well, whether can you go a journey and being improved. I know basically that's why my YouTube channel is about sharing knowledge and giving a better experience for my blog readers. On the other hand, improve myself, on this video journey.
Right. Self improvement and then again knowledge sharing.
Yeah.
Yes. Too.
Yes. Improved experience.
Right. So, that's all for the podcast we have. Thank you so much for watching. And I think the takeaway for me is definitely that knowledge sharing is always important so that you grow in your career. Not just you growing, but also you group people and them bring them also in the growth path, right? Also give back to the community always, and then dream big and work for it. Don't chase money. These are the few lessons that I take from Rasika's insights today. And if you love the podcast today, I definitely loved it. I hope you would love this too. So please like, share, subscribe. And if you have any comments to Rasika, leave them in the comment section below. We try to get his response for that. And yeah, please continue watching for more. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for having me as sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you.